So I'm Lisa Callahan. I graduated from Virginia Tech with a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering in 1986. And then I went right to work with Lockheed Martin at that time. I have worked all over the company, working with a ton of different customers and a lot of different areas. It's been just an amazing career that I've had. I've built training systems for the Army to prepare our forces to support and defend our country. I've built combat systems for submarine systems and unmanned underwater vehicles. I've helped the Navy to implement missile defense systems on their destroyers and cruisers. And I've even had a stint at corporate, helping to identify risks from an enterprise perspective and their mitigation strategies. And for the last 5 years, I worked at Lockheed Martin Space in the space industry with one of the coolest jobs in the world, where I'm leading a team that's building spacecraft to take humans further than they've ever been before, explore our solar systems robotically, weather and climate satellites that are helping us to protect lives and property, and communication satellites that connect the world. So as I said, I have one of the coolest jobs, and my most exciting part is just the people that I work with. They're brilliant, they're very innovative, and it's been my favorite part of my career here at Lockheed. We do have a plan forward right now to put a woman on the moon. And I'm just amazed we haven't done that sooner, but we really haven't been back to the moon in almost 50 years. And NASA's Artemis program, where Artemis is the sister of Apollo, so it kind of makes sense that that would be the name of the program, going back to the moon. We are aiming to put a woman on the moon in the 2024 timeframe, which is really exciting. So later this year, Lockheed Martin builds the Orion spacecraft that will take the astronauts from the surface to cislunar space. And Orion is going to launch later this year on the Space Launch System rocket, the most powerful rocket we've ever built. And we're really excited. That's an uncrewed mission. And then shortly after that, we'll do a crewed flight test. And then, as I said, in the mid-20s, we'll be going to the surface of the moon, something we haven't done in over 50 years. So really, really exciting time for space and space exploration. You know, one of the things about the Artemis program that's unique from Apollo is we want to go to the moon, and we want to go there in a sustainable way so that we can use the moon as a launching off point to go even deeper into space and to have humanity be able to go further and to actually build an economy in space, right? Right now, our space economy is mostly from Earth. And we think there's some great resources on the moon, like the frozen water that we have there that can be used to sustain life and also to be used as rocket fuel in the future that could take folks even farther into space. And so, you know, I don't think it's that far away before we have people living in space beyond low Earth orbit, which of course we've been doing for 20 years now, and that we become an interplanetary species. So 2030s and beyond, I think you'll start to see people there for a longer period of time. Well, I think there's a lot, right? One is the space economy that I talked about. I think there's resources that are in space that we could leverage back here on Earth. But the other piece is the science that we're going to learn. There could be resources that we might need here on Earth. And personally, I think Earth is still the best planet to live on. But if we can go further and learn about the evolution of our solar system and our planet, I think that it can help us in what we need to do here on Earth. So one of the things that we're wondering about is, was there life on other planets before here on Earth? And so we're searching for life. We're also looking to see what we can learn about the other rocky planets that are in our solar system. So Venus and Mars, we're really doing a lot of science with robotic missions right now to understand the evolution of those planets and how that could help us learn about the evolution we're seeing down right here on Earth and how we can benefit humanity from that. You know, I think I would love to go to space for maybe a week or so. I think it would be awesome to be able to see our own planet from that vantage point. But I would miss my family and dogs too much to stay too much longer. Yeah, so first of all, just say they won't be manned missions in the future, they'll be crewed missions. So that I think is a big difference in terms of where we're going. The other part, as I mentioned earlier, is we're going not just to land on the moon and come back, but we're really going to build an infrastructure on the moon and to be able to sustain a presence there. And I think the technology that we have today will enable us to do that and to be able to go even farther into our solar system than just the moon. Yeah, well, when we flew Apollo, they did everything, all the math for developing the trajectories of those systems was all done by hand without any major significant computers. Today, we can do that on computers, and we have tools in which to do that. In addition to that, as we take humans further into our solar system, the use of AI and digital assistants, I think, will become even more important. They won't have the ability to call back to Earth and say, Houston, we have a problem, right? They'll have to solve their issues on their own. So AI technology, 3D printing, they're going to have to sustain themselves in space. When you think about a trip to Mars being, a couple-year journey for them to be able to return back to Earth. So I think those technologies are the technologies that are available today that's going to enable us to go farther into our solar system. So again, as I said, it's a really exciting time to be thinking about what we can do and where we will go next. In any field of study at Virginia Tech is, if you're inspired by space, you can get involved in space. When I think about that we need to have a sustained presence in space, that's going to mean we need people in all industries to participate in space. So they may be not traditional space companies today, but if they could get involved in that. So let me just give you an example. As we're building infrastructure, we need to be able to drill into the surface of the moon to get that water. We're going to need power and electricity. We're going to need rules and policies around how resources on the moon are controlled and who owns them. And so lawyers, communications people, and business majors, any of those different majors or industries, if you're an alum of Virginia Tech, you can get involved in space. And now is the time. We're really starting to put in place a tremendous amount of thought and vision for what needs to be done in what order. And, Lockheed Martin just recently announced a partnership with GM. So GM's the #1 US automaker, and they're going to actually come with us to space and help us to build a lunar rover. So that's just a great example of how you can take a non-traditional space company or industry and bring it into the space world. So I guess if I was to leave you with one thought, it is, if you're inspired by space, get involved. There's a place for you.